place. So we've been talking about virtual assessment and more, but I want to change the focus today. I want to talk about building a thing together because you've probably seen my announcements about this new Facebook group called Let's Build a Thing Together and this new program that's called Let's Build a Thing Together. And the first run of it that's starting in late November 2020 as I make this video with the first real day. So what's it all about though? What exactly are we building and how does it actually work? I think a lot of times as teachers, we're kind of like the little girl in the picture. She's building something wonderful. I mean, I can tell it's wonderful, right? Because every block creation by every child is wonderful. But she's working all by herself. And that's fun for a while, but depending on how much you have to do, it gets overwhelming really, really fast. It's more fun when you're 4 than it is when you're an adult. It's more fun when you can stop and do something else than it is when it's your job and you had to be building, building one thing after another. So, for this 1.0 prototype version of building a thing together, it starts on November 16th, runs through November 24th or 25th, depending on your school's schedule and when you have that break for U.S. Thanksgiving. The purpose of it is because there are so many teachers, and you know who you are, so many teachers who are just completely overwhelmed because you've been trying to build it all. Every resource, every activity, every assessment, everything. You've been trying to build it because, or at least significantly modify it, because the stuff that's out there just doesn't work. Even if you ask for help, even if somebody suggests try this resource, and you look at it and you say, well, that's almost right, but I need to fix it. And then a couple hours later, you realize, well, yeah, I fixed it all right. Does that sound a little bit like you? So what is it? It's a group. It's a bunch of coordinated groups. You don't have to do this all by yourself and you don't have to try to figure it out. We'll be using a structure and process that I've used successfully with my students and with teachers that I've worked with for years. And what we're going to do is we're going to make these smaller groups by language and by some other factors going in. Um, you're going to get together with a group of 2, 3, 4 other teachers. You're going to either bring or create a story. You're going to workshop those stories until they're really, really good. They'll get looked at by somebody else to make sure they're really, really good. And then all the Latin stories will go out to all the other Latin teachers. All the Spanish stories will go out to all the other Spanish teachers. And not just the stories, but as a group, we're going to come up with an excellent lesson plan structure. So we'll know exactly what we're going to be doing with these stories as we share them with our students the scary week before Thanksgiving when everybody's thinking, what am I going to do? And it won't just be like an ordinary lesson because it'll be a lesson where they're interacting and creating and responding and evaluating and synthesizing and doing all those things that your administrators keep asking you to do, right? And you're thinking, how can I even do that? How can I do that when I've got all this other stuff on my plate? But we're going to come up with a structure so it's not difficult and it isn't complicated and it isn't even that hard. And we're going to create it together so that you will know that it works. But we're going to use structures and processes that I can guarantee that they work because, again, this isn't new. It may be new to you guys, but fortunately, it's not new to everybody. Who's this for? This is for you. If you're a world language teacher and you're frustrated and overwhelmed because you've been spending all your time making stuff, you like making stuff, but you made so much stuff and you spent so much time making stuff that by the time that you actually get to use the stuff with your students, you're too exhausted to have any energy for it. You're looking at their faces or those little black squares, possibly with a picture, possibly with a little icon. And you're thinking, do they like it? Are they engaged? I don't know. I don't really want to find out. I'm too tired. And then they interact with the thing, they do the assignment. You get the assignment, and you really ought to grade it, and you really ought to give it feedback, and you really ought to assess it whatever way you do, but you're exhausted. And then you got to turn around and make all the stuff for the next day, right? So if that sounds like you, this program is for you because this program is going to give you a lot of your life back. So where is it? There's the Let's Build a Thing Together group on Facebook. There's little groups that will be forming out of that. Some of them will be self-formed and self-led and won't cost a dime. Some of them will be guided a little bit, and there's an option, there's a suggested amount to pay, but there's also an option to pay what you think is the right amount for you. Because when is this? This is November 16th through 25th, 2000. You've been spending a whole lot of time, and you've probably been spending a whole lot of money. You probably had to buy some physical stuff, a headset, webcam. Some people have felt that they had to buy a document camera. You've probably bought a bunch of subscriptions to a bunch of things. We won't name them, but you know what they are. And when you bought them, you were told, oh, this is the best thing ever. This will work perfectly. This will change everything for your students. They'll be so engaged and so happy. And maybe they are, maybe they aren't. But either way, what you bought yourself was hours and hours of work. So one of the things about this program that is so important to me, that's so important to the people who designed it, is we don't want to turn anybody away. We don't want anybody to go away thinking they can't afford this. Because if you need this, you need this. And if you want this, you know. And there's no reason for you to say, well, but I can't. Because. So how does it work? You'll join the Facebook group. Folks who are watching this in the Facebook group, you've already joined, right? And then you'll make a decision. Do I want to try to do a self-forming group, which is free? Do I want to do one of the 3 options that are not free, but they're not very expensive? Do I want to pay the suggested amount? In which case you just let me know and we take care of that. Do you want to pay a different amount? Because I can't afford option 3, but option 3 is what I really want, but I can afford this. All you have to do is let me know. All you have to do is send that message once you're in the group. Send a message to me and say, okay, I really want to do this, and I'd like to pay this amount for it. That's how it works. You'll get them. We'll take it from there. And then we'll put the group together, and you'll create and share your stories, and we'll collectively create the plan, and you'll go out and you'll take those stories to your students next week, that short week, and you'll get feedback from them, and they'll tell you what to say to the creators. And so for once in your life, you get actual feedback from a kind of appreciative audience, and you don't have to do it all alone. That's the main thing to me. You don't have to do it all alone. And that's why I want us to close with this picture, because those are some happy children in a pre-COVID place and time. I really like that play structure. I want it. Wait, I don't think I really want it, but I want to be near the park where it is. And I want us to feel like we're that joyful group coming up with amazing things together, coming up with things that we never could have come up with by ourselves, changing our lives and our students' lives and the lives of our school for the better. If you want to be part of that, you know what to do, you know where to find us, and you know that it does not matter if you think to yourself, I can't afford it, because that is not even a question. So, I'll see a lot of you guys really, really soon. And remember, it doesn't have to be difficult. It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be hard. because you do not have to do the work alone. So till the next time we see each other, Waleting Sodales.